What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man. And tonight we have a couple of incredible guests, JF Caron and Travis Ortmeyer. So we're waiting for them to both join. And I just thought I'd start. We'll talk a little bit. I don't want to keep all of you waiting. So if anybody's in the comments and wants to comment on any of the Strongman highlights that you've seen this week, please feel free to do so. For me, the top highlight was Clash on the Coast, Anthony Furman's brainchild that really made an opportunity for all the best 105 kg strongmen and some strong women record breakers as well to showcase their talents. And some of the incredible stuff we saw there was, first of all, we had Nadia Stowers breaking an American record. We had Bobby Thompson, of course, setting the new American record on the American log press record. And so with that being said, it looks like JF is here. So let me let him in.
Yep.
Hey, JF, how are you?
Very good. You?
I'm fine, thanks. Travis isn't here yet, but I already decided to go live. I didn't want to keep the audience waiting. So hopefully you're having a nice evening.
Yeah, I just finished my strongman training. Then now I eat.
Fantastic. That sounds great. I didn't eat yet. I got to tell you, like, for guests of this kind of caliber, I had to go take my pre-workout just to be able to keep up with you two this evening.
Good.
Awesome. So, yeah, we were just... Go ahead.
I just finished the training, but, I think all athletes are quite busy. We are on rushing because it's just 4 weeks before World's Strongest Man.
It is, yeah. And funny enough, they just announced the events recently. So I'm going to try to talk a little more so you can eat a little more. But when you're done there, I want to get your perspective on what you think about these events.
Yeah, but it's good news. It's just it helped the guy to maybe recentrate the training because we train almost everything. Then now we have the final events. And still we don't know really the qualification events, but we have a good idea, because you have to squat and do deadlift and some overhead. But the most important is the event and final. And it's much better when a few weeks before, not like last year, just maybe 2 weeks. We got last year, it was very short time, and still we just know the grouping when we arrive on site.
I would even say last year, I don't want to disparage Colin Bryce, but he was on camera saying, these are a bunch of anvils that we are not using. They're just part of what we carry around. And then he used them. So not only was it 2 weeks ahead, it was last minute change.
Yeah, it's because you have the weather, the hurricane problem, and also with the COVID situation, you don't know who will be compete until everybody arrive on site.
It's true.
Then if you made the group in advance, you can replace a leader of the group by a reserve guy. You must have 5 group almost same. It's why they wait at the end. I think it will be same this year too, because they announce it will be like a bubble like last year at the hotel. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder how soon they're going to announce who's in which heat, though, because that'll make it easier to predict. I mean, as you know, I have you placing very high already, and I don't think my opinion's going to change there, but it'll be good to see the heats because, for example, Maxime. If Maxime is in any group other than with Tom Stoltman, he will outdo anybody with Atlas stones. But if he's with Tom Stoltman, it makes a difference.
Yeah. Yes, it's the problem, but it's also a stone off this year. Then you never know which athlete you can catch, but the good thing is just prepare yourself to be the best on stone as possible.
I was watching Big Laz and Liz, and I guess maybe he has a little bit more information than some audience members might have, and so he was saying that he heard it's increasing weight stones, so it's let's see. I think I wrote down what he thought the weight would be. So he thinks it's 140 kg stone working the way up to 210. So they increase and increase. And then if both guys can do the 210, then you do it for reps.
Yeah. But you know, every if it change the setup or it change nothing, the best stone lifter will win anyway. I
True.
think it's not a big factor. You just must to be good as you can. You know, train hard the stones. It's the most important event for that contest. It's why I train stone every week. You know, that's the most important. And you have to train stone, I think, good advice to the athletes in
Mhm.
any situation, like very warm, cold, no tacky. You never know what happened. Last year it was perfect because we compete inside for qualification. You know, then it was perfect. But when it's very warm outside, it's different. You know, it's why I prefer to train harder in training. It will be easier in competition.
Yeah. So, I mean, World's Strongest Man this year, do you know if it's going to be out? I guess they would prefer for it to be outdoors unless there's a hurricane or something like that that forces it indoors. Is that your expectation?
Yeah, but this year in California it will be okay, I think.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope so. Maybe no, hopefully no earthquakes or anything like that.
Yeah. You know, in I think it's World's Strongest Man 2014, we have an earthquake during the night.
Really?
Yeah, and
Wow.
it, everybody woke up during the night. You know, but because I never feel an earthquake before. Then I went, what the fuck happened? You know, and it was an earthquake. But all athletes stopped to sleep because after the big earthquake, you have many small after, and you always
Aftershocks.
thinking it will be restart. Then everybody was really nervous, and everybody it was a shit night for all athletes in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow. So, I mean, what do you think of the events for this year? I was looking through them, and some of them are similar. So, you know, there's always a deadlift, right? But some of them are unique, and I would say mine that I'm most excited to see, and I would be interested to hear your opinion. I'm most excited to see the train pull in the qualifiers.
Yeah, but it's nice to see a new event like the pushing events. We
Mhm.
were not sure what it is, but you have to push very hard for sure. Then we have to train for this, and the other events are good. You know, nothing very special. Yeah, it's nice also to see Max Log coming back. It will be very interesting to see that event. But for me, it's a good set of events. I
Mhm.
think with that set, my prediction, I think Brian Shaw can perform really well in that type of
Interesting.
event. Maybe now,
Interesting.
maybe just the deadlift can cost him a few points, but the rest is perfect for him. You know, because the power medley it will be odd frame. If it's the old frame, you know, this 825 pounds red frame with very small handle.
Yeah.
I think Brian is almost the best athlete for that. Many guys have good yoke, but not really good frame. You know, that frame is very hard, really. But
Okay.
it's very interesting. I think this final will be harder than last year in terms of like energy you need because the pushing event will be brutal. Also, this power medley is not easy for sure. Stone is the same set. Max log deadlift for reps take more energy than a max. Also, you know, when you're
Yeah.
all like me, you prefer maximum.
Oh, you brought this up last time I interviewed you,
Yeah.
and I always remind you I'm older than you are, so you're young.
Yes, but I have maybe more mileage than you.
Maybe, yeah. This is true. This is true. So I mean, I thought I heard Big Loz was saying he thinks that the deadlift will be not traditional height, but they don't know what height it would be. Any guesses? Like, do you have a preference?
But you know, it doesn't matter. Strongest deadlifter will win. You know, then
Okay.
I just train normal deadlift. It's supposed to be the same height, very similar even. Then I'm not sure. I'm not sure what kind of deadlift it is, but if you're stronger on deadlift, you must win this event. That's it. You know, it's just about power. It's very simple. It's not a
Yeah.
technical event.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people are saying that if it's a 15-inch or an 18-inch deadlift, Novikov kind of thrives on that, but not so much on 9-inch. Do you buy into that, or just whoever's stronger is stronger?
Yeah, it will be harder this year. with lower bar, I think it's not so good for Novikov.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more about power from the ground. I think it's maybe a rack or something. Yeah, I have no idea.
Hey, listen,
but
I think
but it's not so important.
I was going to say, with any height, I think it's very good for you.
Yeah, it's what I think.
Yeah.
Also, my deadlift is in good shape now.
Yeah, you and Jerry, I would say, it would be the favorites.
Yeah. Jerry is very strong in deadlift. Also, it's always good in that type of event. Bishop's also very strong. Luke
Trey has really been coming around with deadlift as well. Trey Mitchell.
True. I think Trey pull at the moment maybe 440, 450 without suit. Then it's very good for him. Yeah. Also, we can surprise many guy, but still, you have to do the final first.
True. That's true.
It's hard to
yeah. I mean, they're doing that with several of the events, making them max instead of reps. For example, the keg is max height now. It's not multiple kegs, right? Yeah. So what do you think of that? Is that a good move, or would you prefer the old way?
You have to do something different, but it's a big advantage for Brian Shaw. Brian must win this event easy, I think. He's the most powerful thrower. The only guy who can fight with Brian is Thor, and Thor is not there.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Stoltman did well last year, but again, it wasn't a max height. It was multiple kegs, so maybe speed comes into it more than maximum throwing power. I don't know.
Yeah, I never saw Tom in max power because we just did this event in the past in Arnold Classic with the throwing bag. Shivlakov is very good.
Yes,
it's maybe second best, but we don't know if he can catch the final. But for Tom, it's good event for sure because he can throw the keg easy last year. And the other guys, I think maybe me in top 3 with Brian, Tom, and many guys are similar. Also, Ivar Smokselis is very good in throwing.
Ivars is good in a lot of different things. He's really getting people's attention. He kind of first started getting people's attention in Strongman Champions League, but in Worlds last year as well. But yeah, didn't he? I think there was a keg toss. I don't know if it was a Giants live event, but a Colin Bryce hosted event that was on sand, and Ivars won that. I remember.
Yeah, it was a tiebreaker in World Strongest Man 2019.
Okay. Yeah, but he's great with keg.
It's an event he did after qualification for the best third place. And you won the reserve place, and you won also $1,000 extra. And Ivars won that event. But you know what? With what I saw in Bahrain, I think Ivars have a very good chance to make the final again. You know,
I do too.
This guy is a lot overlooked. You know, and
not for too much longer.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I just did some kind of preliminary predictions before I knew the events and before I knew the what the heats are going to be, and I definitely think he's making the final. Yeah. What do you think about Janasha? He's 2 competitions in after the injury, one not so good and one very good. So which Janasha do you think is going to show up for Worlds, the better one or the not so good one?
Very dangerous. You know, Janasha sometimes, I think in Bahrain, it was just a little warm-up because he stopped after 2 years to compete.
Yeah.
But now he won in Russia, this contest. And now I think self-confidence became again, and he knows he can be really good again and really strong. You know, injury is past. Now you have to look to the future. You know, I think Janasha will be in final. With those events, top 5.
Top 5 overall?
Yeah, overall. You know, Yo can frame. He can top 3 on that. Very good thrower, good in stones, good in lug, better than me. Very strong in deadlift. This pushing event, we don't know. But Konstantin is a very strong athlete, and not so many people talk about him, but he will be very dangerous. I know he's dangerous.
Yeah, he's taller, right?
6'5".
Yeah, so I would imagine, I mean, you tell me, but I would imagine that could be an advantage on that Titans table turning event. Height helps, right?
Yeah, and he's 170 body weight also.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
like
Yeah, he's a
375,
huge
bigger
guy.
guy. You know, it's good for the big body weight for sure. I think Constantine must be, you know, because not so many people talk about him. You know, it's always the same guy we saw, you know, the big YouTube channel like Strongmen, Brian Shaw, Robert Obers. So,
Yeah,
but few guys work in silence, you know,
it's
and
true.
I always very nervous about those guys more than the popular ones.
Yeah, that was a situation in bodybuilding too back in the day. They say Dorian Yates used to work in silence, and then when he'd show up, he'd scare everybody.
Yeah, you know, and I have big respect for those guys too. You know the important moment is the contest.
True.
You
This
know,
is true.
and you have to work very long time to catch this level of competition. But when someone have very good result in the past, sometimes you have few injuries, something can happen. But if he won in the past, like Brian Shaw, he can win again. He proved it last year. He won the Shaw Classic. It's why I
Yeah.
think he have a chance this year. He looked like he trained really, really hard now. I
Hmm.
think he will be really good prepared and hard to beat. It's very nice set of events. More better for example for Brian than Novikov. I think Novikov, if you want to defend his title, it will be very hard for him. But he's always impressive.
All right, I'm gonna have to revisit my predictions. I had Brian 5, so we'll see.
Right. Yeah, but when you don't know the events, it's hard to predict.
Yeah, it was totally a preliminary guess, and I was making the heats like they were last year, which they may or may not be, and it's difficult to do, especially with the heats, because, like I said, certain sets of events suit certain guys. You know,
Right.
if you know your heat is doing deadlift, then God help everybody else.
True, but for Brian, clarification this year would be easy because if you got fingers, example, you won this event easy, and the
Yeah.
rest is also good for him.
Well, I mean, Brian always makes the finals too. It's not he's. It would be shocking for him not to make the finals.
Yeah, you know, he exists two different Brian.
Yeah.
Normal athlete, and when he need to do more, he can do. You know, you
Mm.
understand?
Yeah.
You have not so many athletes like this in the world, but I put Brian in this category. Example, he need one more reps, he will do the reps extra. Like
Okay.
Savikas was the same. Mariusz Puzanovsky is also an athlete like this.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
never know. You never know if he really needs something. You know, those guys are more talented than their average. Then he can all the time prove you wrong. You know, you think he will
Right.
lose, and you never know what kind of performance they can do.
Yeah, it's true. Um, I mean, if we look, let's take a look at what these events are one more time. I have it on the side here. So
You have a medley, yoke and frame.
yeah, the frame loading medley, right? So we were talking about the frame. You were talking about how you think Brian's really good with that type of frame. And then you think they're going to do something crazy with the loading, like the monster truck parts from last year, or something more traditional?
The loading is in qualification,
Right.
not in final. But I don't know what kind of object it is, but it change nothing. You know, you're good in loading or you're not good. But something new for sure. It would be
Yeah,
maybe trade parts, or I don't know what kind of sponsor they have this year.
true. Oh, you know what they have? I heard they have a tool manufacturer, knack, for the deadlift. So it may be a tool like some sort of electric tools or something.
Ah, okay, possible,
Yeah.
but it's not important. You have to load something. But you know, the frame can fuck up many guys.
Yeah.
You know, if you are very good in loading, but your grip is shit, you're fucked. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some competitions where the frame handles had no knurling on them, and it messed up everybody.
That frame normally in World's Strongest Man makes some mistake with guy because it's very, very small handle. And you can open your ends very easy. It's why it's more difficult. But you're not supposed to have knurling on that. You have grip or you don't have grip. That's it.
Interesting. I haven't heard that one before, but yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And not supposed to have knurling on that. I see that few times, but it's not supposed. It's just supposed to be steel. That's it. No paint.
Right.
This paint is it's much harder.
Of course. Yeah.
But just normal steel is supposed to be okay.
Okay. Interesting. By the way, anybody out in the audience who has questions for JF, feel free to jump in, put them in the comments, and this is your chance to talk to a 9-time Canada's Strongest Man. And how many times have you been to Worlds, JF?
This year will be 11.
Wow, 11.
And I make at the moment 8 finals, maybe 9. I prefer say nothing for the moment.
Okay, you let me say it for you. JF's going to make the finals.
I hope. It's the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's incredible. I was my joke is this. I say JF has been Canada's Strongest Man pretty much since Canada was founded.
Almost since 2011. But I think also Maxime this year will be really strong. He trained very hard now. He have good chance to make the final. It would be nice to see 2 Canadians in the final.
For sure. Maxime is really good at training his weaknesses, so I think he's going to come in very well balanced this year.
Yeah. I train him now, and I help him with weaknesses, and he do squat and deadlift like never he did in the past. Trust me.
Really? Wow.
He will be much better.
Yeah, I think he was, when I interviewed him, I think he was telling me that he was working on yoke as well to try to get his yoke up as well.
Yeah, you have 2 weaknesses, powerlifting movement and yoke. That's it. All other events are always very good for Maxime because he's a really good athlete.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah, this year it will be very dangerous. He's really good on stones.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. If he gets into a stone off with anybody except for Tom Stoltman, he's probably going to win.
Yeah, yes, of course. It's very, very dangerous. You have also a few guys coming back. Like Travis Opmeyer is coming back.
Yeah.
I think Travis can make the final this year.
Yeah, Travis was supposed to be on with you this evening. Maybe he got pulled away at something, but it would have been really interesting to talk to him. I'm checking to see if he's messaged me by any chance.
But why I say that? I say that because he's really good on stones.
Oh, yeah. Travis is famous for stones. Travis told me, if I'm getting this right, he told me in his garage he has a 600-pound stone. So if I remember right, I think he said he got it to his lap once.
Yes. I'm sure he can do. But, it will be very dangerous and maybe make some new athletes, like favorites, very nervous if they have Travis in the group. Because they know if you have to fight the stones against this guy, it will be not easy.
Right.
Yeah. And Travis he's older now, but is really good athlete. You look what he did in the past. He's good in almost single event. Then it's why I don't take this guy like not so good. He's always dangerous in contests.
No, I mean, even very recently at Siberian Power Show, he was 4th out of 13. So it's not only his past accomplishments, he's still very dangerous.
Yeah, it will be a very good event this year in World's Strongest Man. Then 4 more weeks to train. I just hope just not get injured. That's what I hope the most. But I'm in good shape now. I will be ready.
How's training going? It's progressing like you wanted?
Yeah, very good. Today I try squat suit. But because I have the same setup at home, I have all the Strongman equipment.
Yeah.
Then I test the squat. Not bad. We do many events today, throwing, like yoke, stones. Hercules hold also to train the grip. And all was perfect. I had small injuries after Bahrain, but I take like 1 month rest. But now I feel much better. It will be good. But I prefer don't say any prediction. I prefer arrive like underdog guy and surprise people.
Yeah, I mean, you did really. You were second place in Bahrain, right? You did extremely well there.
Yeah, it was good. It was good contest. Of course, the goal is always to win, but I was happy. You know, when you make a podium in this level, you must be happy. Okay, but I hope I have my chance also to win the title this year in World's Strongest Man. That's the goal. But you never know what can happen because we don't compete very often. We have no idea about the shape of the other athletes too. But
Right.
I think I predict many new guys in final. Many surprise. You know, maybe if you guys don't have the chance last year, they got injured or something. But I think many newcomers are in really good shape and can surprise many like favorite guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Did Bobby Thompson make? He didn't make the finals last year, did he?
No,
I think he will this year. What do you think?
it will be hard for Bobby because Stone
Yeah.
is one of his worst events.
True, that's true.
That's the problem for
Deb,
Bobby. But he looked really, really strong at the moment. If he win the group, he don't need to fight Stones. Also, but I'm not sure about. Okay, deadlift and squat is good, but you have a loading. It's not the best for him. Squat and deadlift is very good for Bobby. Overhead is also good. But depending what you do on the truck pull or the single finger. I never see him in single finger, but I know truck pull is not his best even. That it will be very hard for Bobby to make the final, in my opinion. Because we know the events now. And
yeah, I
it's
know
all
that.
about stone off also.
Right. Yeah, I've heard him mention something about truck pulls where I think he has like a flexibility issue in his ankles or something that makes it difficult for him.
I think Bobby had a big foot injury because when he came to Warwick in Canada to compete in Arnold in Warwick, he got injured in his foot. It was an old injury and he cannot pull the truck. I just hope he's okay. But he really surprised me in the last few weeks with the weight he lift in log, and he also really strong in deadlift and squat. Then I hope he can reach the final because he deserves it, in my opinion. But with that set of events, maybe not the best for Bobby. Yeah.
What do you think about? I'm thinking Evan Singleton will make the finals. What do you think about him? He's looking pretty strong this year.
I think Evan improve his weaknesses. He will be in final. Almost 90% sure for me.
Yeah, he's an incredible athlete, and he's also very motivated. Like he tries very hard.
Yeah. I think anyway, we can make many predictions, but we're never sure. You know, we'll see what happens in World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
I have to leave you because I have to go at home now. But I was happy to talk with you tonight.
Yeah, likewise, of course.
I was just disappointed Travis was not there, but maybe we can try next week.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. Great. I'll catch up with him. And thanks a lot, JF. I really appreciate it and enjoy your evening.
Yes, it's a pleasure, and continue your good work with Strongman Sport.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
All righty. Bye-bye. So anybody else who's out in the audience who has any other questions about anything we've talked about or any comments about World's Strongest Man, please jump in and let me know, and we'll try to address those questions for you. Excellent dude, I did see you. Hello and bonjour to you too. Hope you enjoyed the segment with JF and how his training is going and what he thinks about some of the other competitors at World's Strongest Man this year. As I was saying, let's take a look at what those events are one more time. And so I'll go ahead and share my screen. I've kind of written them down in one of my famous spreadsheets. So we'll take a look at that. And that way we can take a look together. So these are the events in World's Strongest Man. So for the qualifiers, there's going to be a frame loading medley. So it's going to be a frame that the weights we see here, we don't know for sure. They were kind of guesstimates from Big Laz and Liz on their YouTube channel. So go ahead and check them out. If you're one of the few people who aren't following him already, he's a godsend. You really should check him out. And so he was estimating that frame would be 340 to 360 kilos, somewhere in that range. And then there's going to be a squat or a deadlift, same as last year. So it'll be an axle squat for reps with, those giant globes, same as last year, with the pads now. So you go down to the pads, up, that's a rep. And then the deadlift will be for reps. And he was thinking 340 to 350 kgs on a normal bar. So not any kind of super whippy flexy bar, normal bar, but not sure of the height, right? So it could be not, he was thinking that probably not a 9-inch. So something elevated, 15, 18, 13, we don't know. And then we have the fingers or the train pull. So from Big Laz's information and his kind of educated guesstimates, he thinks it's one or the other. So some of the heats will have one, some will have the other. Fingers and train pulls are kind of both blasts from the past that I'm really excited about seeing. Train pull more so for me, because that brings me back to really the original World's Strongest Man competitions, where you had guys like Wilhelm and Don Reinhardt pulling them, and Ken Patera, and just really back in the day, late 70s, early 80s kind of stuff. So it's going to be great to see that train pull. And I think they were even doing it in the era of Pujanowski, if I remember correctly. And fingers will be increasing in weight. So basically they increase in length as well. So that's where you get the extra weight from. So getting harder and harder as you go. And Big Laz was thinking that would be between 200 and 300 kilos, probably 4 fingers, but we don't know. And then there's an overhead medley that he feels everybody will likely be doing. And that overhead medley is 2 dumbbells between 95 and 110 kilos each, not both at the same time. So first one and then the other. And then a circus barbell, not dumbbell, circus barbell. So a full barbell with the globes on the end, kind of similar to what you saw Martins Lisi's do the Steinborn squat with. So a very whippy barbell for that circus. And that'll be 160 to 175 most likely in kilos. And then we have an axle as part of that medley as well. And that axle, the axle weight itself without anything added to it is 163 kilos. So that's the overhead medley that we feel likely everybody will be doing. Then there's a pickaxe hold. So it'll be between 25 and 30 kgs and basically hold it out in front of you for as long as you can hold it. So kind of an endurance event there. Then going into the stone off for the second and third place, most likely like last year, in each heat to decide who will be the second person from that heat that goes on to the finals from these qualifier events. Of course, the first place person in the heat automatically goes through to the finals. And then the finals event starts off with a Giants medley. So that's somewhere in a 450 to 485 kg yoke, and then into a frame carry. So it's a medley. It's both. So you take the yoke, and Laz was thinking maybe 20 meters or so, which is pretty far, actually. And then, hey, what's up, World's Strongest Blacksmith? Nice to see you, buddy. You just missed JF. He had a run. So he just finished training, was eating his dinner, and had a run home. So he was on for the first half hour or so, and you just missed him. So now you get me. Hopefully, I'm trying to see if Travis Ortmeyer can still make it. He seems to maybe he got pulled away into something, but he was supposed to be with us as well. And so just going through the finals, after that Giants medley, we have a Titans turntable, and it's supposed to be similar to that Wheel of Pain at the Arnold's. So kind of a giant disc-like object that rotates around an axis, where probably the taller, heavier guys will have an advantage. Then there's a rain keg toss. So how is that different from last year's keg toss? Well, it's for max height now. So it is not a series of kegs, but it is one keg, probably around 15 kilos, and you throw it for height. Anybody who can make that height, they raise the height, and you go on and on till only one competitor can make that max height, and that's the winner. JF and I were just talking about, we really think, that's almost not a gimme, but Brian Shaw is going to win that event most likely. I kind of thought Tom Stoltman would be in contention as well, and JF sort of talked me out of that one. So Brian Shaw, and then we both agree that Ivar Schmuckstellis is an incredible keg thrower as well. So we think he's going to do really well there as well. Dear NH, JF is an animal and seems like a really nice guy. Great interview. Thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate that. And I will confirm that he's a super nice guy. So I did a full interview with JF Caron a few weeks back before we did this live stream together. So you should go over to my blog, Strongest Man, my channel, and make sure that you watch that one as well. And while we're at it, anybody who's watching, subscribe to my blog, Strongest Man, like this live stream, and then check out a bunch of my other interviews. I've interviewed several, I think 5 World's Strongest Man competitors for this year already. They're not all out yet, but I have interviewed Travis Ortmeyer, JF Caron, and then Chris van der Linde. That video should be coming out this coming week. I've interviewed Athor Melstead, which should be coming out, I think, this coming week or the week after. And who am I missing? There's one more in there that I'm missing. There were five altogether. So that being said, he's a super nice guy. He was nice to me the first time we ever talked. Super friendly guy. And one of these days, I'm going to take the drive up. I'm on the East Coast. I'm going to take the drive up to Quebec City and visit his gym. He offered. I'm going to take him up on that offer for sure. So going on, after that keg toss, we have a max log lift. And so, JF and I were talking about that max log lift as well. And his feeling is, all of these events should be max. It's the strongest guy should win the event. And, I was kind of talking to him about technique, and even on the deadlift, like this next one is the NAC deadlift. And for those who don't know what a NAC deadlift is, like I didn't know, NAC is a sponsor for World's Strongest Man from what I hear, and it's a tool company. So I've heard some rumors. I don't know if this is actually true, but I've heard rumors that they might be giant toolboxes on each side, which would be really cool. Kind of going back to the unconventional style of, remember the Flintstone rocks where Yoko Ohola won that event at World's Strongest Man? It was a deadlift with like Flintstone type stones on the end. So doing things that are unique like that, I really like, because strongman in its essence is lifting unconventional things, right? So I really like that idea. And I was talking to JF about the deadlift and whether he thought it would be a 9-inch, a 13, 15, 18, what have you. And he basically said, doesn't matter. The strongest deadlifter should win. So it's interesting there. But yeah, he actually thinks that this set of events, funny enough, we were talking about who had the advantage. And I did a preliminary World's Strongest Man prediction video that, if you haven't checked that out, go check that out. And I have a lot of great videos, by the way, so go check them out. I'm going to make a selfish plea here. I'm getting pretty close to 600 subscribers. So if there are 30 people in the audience and you love what I'm doing, subscribe, please. It's just clicking a button and it really helps me out. And definitely very open to any ideas you have for videos in the future. I'll do my best to make them for you. So if you don't love my content yet, give me a chance. I'll make you a fan. But yeah, anyway, so I was talking with JF and he basically said the best deadlifter wins. And so Hassan says, these events are perfect for Brian. I don't know if you've been on for this whole stream, but it's funny that you say that because that's what JF said. So when I had JF on about 10, 15 minutes ago, one of the first things he said was, this set of events is perfect for Brian, to win. And so it's interesting because, as I was saying, I did a preliminary prediction video before I knew the events and before I knew the heats, which is, high risk and could be very error prone, right? Like now that we know what the events are and even knowing what the heats are, hopefully that comes out sometime soon. I can make a more precise prediction. But I had JF winning. He's been getting better and better every year. And he was 3rd last year and 2nd at the Shaw Classic. So I think he's going to be, if the pattern continues of the many years of progression that he's made, getting better and better, I think he'll be 2nd or 1st this year. And it's funny because he was saying this set of events is perfect for Brian and not perfect for Novikov, who may be, many people's favorite to win, but JF didn't really see it that way. So I found that very interesting as well. So great comment, Hassan. These events are perfect for Brian, a 9-time Canada's Strongest Man, and now 11-time World's Strongest Man competitor agrees with you. So great assessment there. Anybody else in the audience have any good comments that you want to talk about? Let's see what other events we have. So after that NAC deadlift, we have the Atlas stones, as we do every year, increasing in weight. And so they have, they basically have one set of stones that they're going to use for the stone off. And it seems like for the finals Atlas stone event as well. And so it would be starting off with a 140 kilo stone and working its way up to a 210 kilo stone. And so if you watch Big Laz's video, he and Liz kind of went through these events as well and talked about whether or not these are good weights. And he feels like they're good. They're not they're heavy enough, but they're not so heavy that they're going to kill the guys when they have to do this many events. Especially if you count all of the qualifiers and then going into the finals. So, seems like a good set of events and a good weight disbursement for what these things will be. I think there's no doubt about Tom Stoltman's going to win Atlas Stones. He's going to win any kind of Atlas Stone event that you put in front of him. But if you were on here earlier when I was talking with JF Caron, he mentioned, again, what we talked about in our one-on-one interview, which was Maxime Boudreau, who is training with JF now. JF is actually training him. Maxime Boudreau has made leaps and bounds improvements on stones. And when I talked to Maxime a few weeks back when I interviewed him, he said he was getting really close to a 500-pound Atlas stone, which is considerably heavier than what you're going to see at World's Strongest Man. So 210 kilos would be 462 pounds, I think. And so he's already moving stones that are heavier than that. And basically, I asked him when we interviewed, I said, well, do you think World's Strongest Man is going to have a 500-pound stone? And he said, no, but if I can do more than they have, I'll be able to beat the other competitors. I'll be good to go, which is a good perspective to have. So what's up, Terminator the Terminator? Did I see Big Ronnie? He just won Oregon Strongest Man. No, I did not. I got to shout him out and congratulate him for that. Thanks for telling me. I'm going to write him a message. Big Ronnie is really cool. I've actually been trying to get him on this time slot, but he trains at this time slot. And so for those of you that don't know Strong Bro Big Ronnie on Instagram and his brother Strong Bro Big Victor, I've been trying to get them both actually. And Terminator the Terminator, thanks for continuing to remind me so I don't forget in the middle of all this other content I'm creating. But yeah, I definitely want to get him on. So he's either training at this time on Saturdays or in the car going to and from training at this time. So I wasn't able to get him for this time slot. But I'm going to do an interview with either he himself or him and his brother on a weeknight sometime, on a night that works well for him, because I think he's a huge dude, and I think he'll have a good story to tell for everybody. So what's up, The Onion? Have I seen Matt Rhodes' video on the event on World's Strongest Man? Is that what you're mentioning? Or on Oregon Strongest Man? I have not. I watch a lot of Matt Rhodes' sport. He has awesome videos. He's been doing some great interviews as well. From Siberian Power Show, for example. So he did, I think he did an interview with Travis Ortmeyer, and then he did an interview, was it with Shivlikov? I forget. But yeah, Matt Rhodes' channel is awesome. I consider his content top-notch. I watch it all the time, and nothing but great things to say about him. Have not seen his video about Worlds yet, but I will. So I believe if it's the video I'm thinking of that you're referring to, it's the one where he went through the events, like the revealing of the events. Is that right? Most likely. But yeah, I'll check that out and get his perspective as well. Always happy to learn from other knowledgeable YouTubers. He's been in the game a while and and really knows his stuff, especially from a production aspect. I don't know how long you followed his channel, Matt Rhodes Sport, but it's really, for me, the most interesting part, because I know the least about it, is learning his knowledge about the TV show aspect about it and how production works. So I try to go through his comments and learn little by little by his responses, kind of some of the behind the scenes production expertise that he has, which is really, really interesting to me. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So out of all these events, qualifiers and finals, does anybody in the comments have a favorite, whether it's something that's returning from last year or recent years, or one of the ones that we haven't seen in a long, long time? What's your favorite? So I mentioned, for me, it's the train pull, because I'm up late at night sometimes on YouTube watching those really old World's Strongest Men, 1978, 79, 80, and so forth. And I really love those train pulls they did back then. It was really cool. And they had, back then they didn't have strongmen who did strongman for a living as much, right? So the first World's Strongest Men were wrestlers, powerlifters, shot putters, stuff like that. And I like pro wrestling growing up, so I like watching Ken Patera do the train pull and stuff like that. So Terminator the Terminator. Let's see. Let me pop your comment up there. Thank you, man. I got a lot of respect for Ronnie. Believe he can be a world's strongest man one day and still natural. Hey, he's a huge dude and he's pushing some big weights. So you never know. Get into the right qualifier and you never know. So, I believe you kind of gotta get into a Giants Live qualifier and get noticed. But he's a big dude. For folks that haven't seen Strong Bro Big Ronnie, let me Terminator. Let me bring him up on my Instagram so people can see this guy. So I'll share my screen. All right, let's see. Fellow would help. There he is. So yeah, for folks that don't know Strong Bro Big Ronnie, this is him. And there it is, 2021 Oregon Strongest Man Champion. Awesome. Thanks for bringing that up, Terminator the Terminator. So if you, I want to get one of these photos where you can really see the size of this dude, like this. I mean, look at the size of his arms. Ronnie's a big guy. And yeah, it's listed right here, 100% natural athlete. So, and he's super nice. Like we've chatted back and forth a couple times, super nice guy, both him and his brother. And they support my content as well. So thank you to both of you, Ronnie and Victor. And we'll definitely get them on sometime soon for sure. So I see Titan's Turntable is getting some votes, right? Hassan, Titan's Turntable. So I'm wondering, I don't think we have all the details yet on Titan's Turntable and whether it's going to be just like the Arnold's Wheel of Pain or something slightly different than that. That I'm not sure. So it'll be interesting to see how they set it up. But in terms, if Titan's Turntable is kind of the one you're most looking forward to, who do you think is going to win that event? That's the next question, right? So JF and I were talking a little earlier when he was on the stream, and he was talking about he thinks that one's really good for Konstantin Janasha. What do you all think of that? That kind of interpretation of that event. Taller guys, Konstantin, maybe Tom Stoltman, maybe Brian Shaw. So JF thought that, again, for if you're just joining, JF was telling me he feels like this set of events is kind of, I don't want to say tailor-made, but will work very well for Brian Shaw to win another title. And it's interesting for somebody who's competing against him to say something like that. But I found that very interesting. World's Strongest Blacksmiths, that's my buddy Tyler. I want a max diameter, let's see. I want a max diameter bar bend event in Worlds again. I just did a 5/8 inch bar. So World's Strongest Blacksmith is a buddy of mine, and he does strongman and blacksmithing. He makes some awesome knives and stuff, and he uses stuff in his workshop, like bars with tires that are in his workshop to kind of do a lot of his lifting, which is really interesting. So if you guys haven't checked out World's Strongest Blacksmith, that's what he is on Instagram as well. Tyler, I think you might have some maybe some underscores or whatever, but you guys will be able to find him. World's Strongest Blacksmith. Check him out. He's really interesting. But yeah, bar bend. Remember Franco Colombo putting the thing in his mouth and bending it, and being interviewed after, and they asked him, like, why would you put that in your mouth? And he said, oh, I just felt like I had the best leverage that way. So funny. So many incredible moments from World's Strongest Man events in the past. So just another quick reminder for all of you that are watching. Thanks again for joining this evening and watching me with JF Caron. And if you like what you're watching, make sure and hit that like button on this stream below. Make sure and subscribe to my blog, Strongest Man, and my cohort partner in crime, Hunger Smash Fitness, who is actually staffing an event local to him, the Empire Classic today, and may or may not make it toward the end here. Make sure and subscribe to him as well. He's doing lots of work behind the scenes to help make all this possible as well. So subscribe to my blog, Strongest Man. Subscribe to Hunger Smash Fitness. Help us to keep bringing you this great quality content. Subscribes and likes really make you, the YouTube gods, happy. So what are you going to do? I ask you for your assistance there. Anyway, so let's see what we got. Terminator the Terminator, thank you for the great job in the news. Big love to you too, buddy. You have actually supported me quite a bit, and you've brought some great ideas and great commentary, and I really do love the interaction. So thanks again, buddy. And let's see what else. World's Strongest Blacksmith says, my favorite out of these is the max height keg. Yeah, it's interesting. I I mean, so Tyler, am I wrong to say that when you hear max height keg, you almost say like Brian Shaw's unbeatable in that? That's my reaction, and I don't know if it's because of what I saw in the Strongest Man in History show. But then again, that was just 3 guys doing it. That was Robert Oberst, Eddie Hall. No, sorry, Nick Best was there as well. 4 guys. Brian Oberst, Eddie Hall, and Nick Best. And Brian was just incredible with a keg for height. So I don't know. Do people agree with me that when you have a keg for height, Brian's unbeatable? If you take out, even with the speed element, even when you have multiple kegs that are not for height, Brian's still like first or second or right in there. But if you take the speed element out, where maybe Tom Stoltman's a fraction faster, I think Brian wins it hands down. But let me know what you think. And then let's see. Hassan was saying if it's lighter, Novikov will win. I think we're talking about Titan's turntable there. Interesting. So you think that Novikov at his, I believe he's 6'1" and around that 300-pound mark, give or take. So you think a guy his size would be able to win Titan's turntable? You might be right. I'm not saying you're not. Conventional wisdom would say a taller, heavier guy would win, but he's got a lot of he's very athletic and has a lot of drive and motivation. So you might be right there, buddy. If it's heavier, Brian, yeah, Brian's going to be top 3 in that turntable, I think. I think so for sure. I mean, once we get all the heats and stuff, I'll come out with a new prediction video and use all of the information at my disposal to come up with a good prediction of what's going to happen there. But, you know, Titan's turntable is a finals event, not a qualifier. But let's face it, there ain't no way Brian's not making the finals. Like, Brian always makes the finals. So, yeah, I think he's going to make the finals, and I think he'll be top 3 on Titan's turntable for sure. The Onion, I can see Brian getting top 3 in each of the events in the finals, which is an almost guaranteed win. I would agree that's an almost guaranteed win. And let's see, let me share that list of events one more time, and let's see if I would agree with you on that. So we'll go to that list of events. Again, it's on my spreadsheet. And so the final events are Giants Medley, which the great JF Caron told me Brian's going to kill on. So who am I to disagree? So yeah, Brian's top 3, if not winning that Giants Medley. Titans Turntable, I would agree, is top 3 there as well. Rain Keg Toss, I think he wins it outright. So I think he's 1 there. Max Log Lift, I don't know if he's 3. It depends who else makes the finals. So, you know, this is going to be embarrassing because it's a prediction that I did without any of this information, but let's look at it anyway. Why not? Right. And so I had my original finals predictions were these. And so if we're talking max log, Bobby Thompson, if he makes the finals, which now JF told me he thinks that's going to be a difficult proposition for Bobby because the train pull might be difficult for him. Stones might be difficult for him if he gets into a stone off and that sort of thing. So, you know, so overhead log of the guys that I have here, JF's not going to win it, but he'll be, you know, not near the bottom. Let's see. Who did I have? I had this log lift that I predicted before I knew it was max. And I had Janasha winning it. And then I had Evan Singleton. And then look at this. I told you I was going to look stupid. So I had Bobby Thompson making the finals. And sorry, this is points. My bad. This isn't placing. So 9 points would be second place for Bobby. That makes more sense. Not ninth place. Okay. I was going to say Bobby Thompson, for those of you that don't know and didn't recently watch Clash on the Coast, just broke the American log lift record. So you got to put him near the top of that event in any competition, right? So I take that back. I had Jerry Pritchett winning the log lift, and then Bobby, and then where's 8? And then Tom Stoltman, and then Novikov. So interesting there. I didn't have Brian top 3 there, but I could be wrong. Then we go, let's see, back to the events. And so then we have the knack deadlift. So you think Brian can make third, top 3 in the deadlift? He's definitely top 3 in Atlas Stones. I think he'll be probably number 2 in Atlas Stones, depending on whether Maxime makes the finals. Trey is good with stones as well. Yeah, let's say Brian's top 3 in Atlas stones. Deadlift may be the only one I disagree with you on. Because you're going to have JF, you're going to have Jerry Pritchett. Brian and Trey were about equal to each other on a Hummer tire deadlift at the Shaw Classic. If Adam Bishop makes the finals, which I didn't have him making the finals, he might be a problem for Brian to make third. That might be the only one that I disagree on, is the deadlift. But I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you, The Onion. He's going to do well enough in the other events, especially because I think he's going to win the keg toss. Yeah, that might be enough to do it. So we'll have to see what the heats are. But for Brian, again, I don't think it matters. Like, I think Brian makes it out of whatever heat he's in. So yeah, he might do enough to win. He might do enough to win. That's a good one. That's a good one. Good call. Good call, The Onion. Let's see. So Hassan, Brian just needs to work on his yoke speed and deadlift. I agree on the deadlift. The yoke, I would agree. Brian's power on the yoke is among the best in the world. I don't know if it's the actual speed. It's the getting going. If you get my drift, like he may take and it's fractions of seconds cost you in this, right? Like, I'm not saying he takes 10 seconds to get set up, but if one guy takes, a second and a half to get set up and one guy takes 2, that's a placing or 2 difference, right? So these guys are close together. So I would say Brian's setup could be a little quicker. And I think he's been working on that this year. Like, I think I've heard him talk about realizing that area for improvement and working on it. So I think for sure he's all over that. Let's see. Martin or Martine, Brian seems slow on moving events. We'll see how it goes on the medley. Yeah, he did in the past. And I think it's just taking that methodical approach a little bit too far, which I think, guys like Big Laws and others have said, and Brian has acknowledged himself. And I think he's been working on a lot this year. So I think it's going to make a difference. Like I said, my original prediction, I had him 5th again, like last year. And then I was looking at that and I said, how could that be possible? He's better than he was last year. And the other guys could be better as well. So it's possible he could be 5th. But now that we know what the events are, I think I got to go with JF. Like, JF is saying Brian could win it. I don't know if he's going to win it, but I'd be shocked if he doesn't podium. Definitely would be. Hassan with another great comment. Brian has the world record on max height. I forgot about that. Thank you for pointing that out. Would you happen to remember what that was? It's over 20 feet, isn't it? And what was the weight of the keg? I don't remember. But yes, I do recall that he does have that record, because so didn't Oberst make a post the other day saying, like, I broke Brian's record and then I FaceTimed him to brag about it. And then I went to go watch it, and then he was doing it with a sandbag. So he's like, oh, it's a sandbag, but I don't know. I don't want to call it clickbait, but I will say from a viewer's perspective, I was disappointed because I clicked and I thought, oh, I'm going to see a keg toss for height that'll be higher than Brian's. And then it was a sandbag, which, is similar, but not the same. So just saying. Hassan says, thank you, everybody, for this engagement. You guys are like really into it this evening, and this is what makes our live streams the best, when we have this kind of engagement. So Novikov beat Brian on the Wheel of Pain at Arnold. So we were talking about earlier, if it was lighter, it would be Novikov, and heavier would be Brian. Would you consider that Wheel of Pain at Arnold heavier or lighter? I know that the Arnolds have a reputation for being a heavy contest, so if it was heavier and Novikov beat him, that's something to think about for sure. World's Strongest Blacksmith says, I think with how explosive some of the athletes are getting, I think Novikov or Tom could get the keg. Brian's my favorite for the keg. Tom, I haven't seen much explosive power. Yeah, JF was telling me the same thing. So Tom did really well with keg last time I saw him compete at it, but again, it was multiple kegs, and it's because I think he moved a little quicker between kegs than Brian did. But when you're talking max height, JF had a kind of similar opinion as you do, World's Strongest Blacksmith, that he hasn't seen, not that it's impossible or Tom can't do it, but JF hasn't seen him have the power to do keg for height, to win a keg for height event. So Right with you there. World record on max weight Atlas stone shouldn't be an issue. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, Tom with the world record. Yes, obviously. Yeah, he's the one with the record. Interestingly enough, when Donna Moore broke the world record, for those of you that aren't aware, she did it in Tom Stoltman's gym. So you should go catch that video if you can find it anywhere. And while you're at it, go watch my interview with Donna Moore on my blog, Strongest Man. And while you're at it, like this live stream. And while you're at it, hit subscribe. Do all of those things. If you like what you're watching, just support me. Clicking a button really isn't that difficult. And with the YouTube algorithm, it just helps me a lot. Like, it helps me way more than how hard it is for you to click the button. So I really appreciate it. Hassan with some great additional comments. Brian has a 200 log, which is a 200 max log, so that'd be 440 pounds. That is decent. I agree with you. That is decent. What's Luke Stoltman's record again? It's over 500, I believe. What is it, like 515 or something crazy like that? Not that he did that at the last World's Strongest Man, but there's a difference between going for a record where you do one max event versus doing a whole set of World's Strongest Man and then doing log, what is it, like halfway through more than halfway through the finals after doing all those qualifiers. So you're not going to hit your max going for it that way. Martine, who do you got for second or third place on the stone off? Interesting question. Does anybody else have an opinion on that? So it's going to depend on what the heats are again, right? Because stone off is going to be in each of the heats. And again, I'll show you. I tried to make the heats, because I don't know what they are. I tried to make them similar to what they were last year and insert the 4 new guys and remove the 4 guys that are not competing this year. So again, my heats can be nothing like that. If you go watch Big Law's official, he and Liz did a whole discussion about what they think the heats should be, like how they should be chosen. And they did an awesome job with that. Very methodical, very great approach. I'm not so sure World's Strongest Man will follow that approach, but I that's why I kind of felt like they would follow more of what model they did last year, but who knows, right? So if we go to my qualifier predictions, for example, I had a heat with Jerry Pritchett, Konstantin Janasha, Johnny Hansen, Sweden's Strongest Man, who didn't compete last year because I think he had just won Sweden's really close to Worlds and didn't feel like he had time for another prep. But he's going to be there this year. Robert Oberst and Luke Richardson. So in that heat, I would have Jerry Pritchett and Konstantin Janasha coming out of that heat into the finals. It would be, in that case, I would say, I would expect Jerry to win the heat outright, and then Konstantin and Johnny to get into the stone off, and Konstantin wins the stone off. So to answer your question about who are the second and third place guys that go into the stone off in that heat, it would be those guys if the heat's constructed that way. But JF had a lot of great things to say about Konstantin Janasha. If he were in a heat like this, he might win it outright. Who knows? And then I had a heat with Evan Singleton, Kevin Ferris, Mark Felix, Mikhail Shivlikov, and Adam Bishop. And then here I had Evan winning the heat outright, and then Kevin Ferris and, Shivlikov getting into a stone off where I felt Shivlikov would win and move into the finals with Evan Singleton. Then I had Novikov, Boudreau, Tom Stoltman, Gavin Bilton, and Trey Mitchell in another heat. I have Novikov outright winning that heat. And then I had Boudreau actually with more points than Stoltman. And so I had Stoltman and Gavin Bilton kind of tying there. But again, these were based on last year's event. So I have to really redo this based on what the events are this year. So so keep that in mind for sure. So I had Maxime and Gavin both doing better than Tom, but then Tom beating whoever the second place guy is for the stone off and Tom moving into the finals there. This is what I was talking about with JF. So JF was telling me that Maxime Boudreau is close to doing, and Maxime told me the same thing, he's close to doing a 500-pound Atlas stone in training. And so I feel that if he's in a stone off with anybody but Tom Stoltman, he wins the stone off. But against Tom, nobody beats him in Atlas stones of any kind. Then I have a heat with JF Caron, Bobby Thompson, Travis Ortmeyer, Graham Hicks, and Athor Melstead. And I had JF and Bobby coming out of that heat. But after talking with JF and after we know what the events are now, that might change. Not for JF, he's definitely going through, but maybe for Bobby. So if we had a heat like this, Travis, who JF had great things to say about, might have a better chance of going through because of what some of the events are. So then Ivar's, Smock Stellis, JF and I agree is going to the finals and is super impressive in lots of different events. And then I would have Brian Shaw in that heat going through as well, for sure. Like whether he wins the heat outright or has to stone off doesn't matter. He's going to go through. And the rest of that heat would be Luke Stoltman, Kerry Hollins, and Chris Vanderlinde, who I also interviewed recently. That one, I believe, comes out possibly in 2 days. I got to check my schedule. But awesome guy, great interview. Check that one out for sure when it comes out. And then not to forget the reserves, right? So first alternate, from what I hear, is Gabriel Pena. And I interviewed him recently. That interview is out. So go to my blog, Strongest Man, and check out that interview. Awesome guy, super knowledgeable, and very accomplished guy. He's done some interesting stuff, swimming, rugby, like really cool stuff. So hopefully that answers the question for you on how I think the stone off might go. But again, I got to redo this with the new set of events. So hopefully that tells you what I thought would happen with last year's heats and last year's events and the adjustments that might happen with the new events. For example, Travis going through instead of Bobby. Now, in terms of the finals, though, if Bobby makes the finals, he's an incredible deadlifter. He's an incredible log lifter. Like, he's got a good shot if he makes the finals. All right, so moving on. Hassan says, Brian's using new equipment to help with the speed on his latest video, like a resistance machine. That's really interesting. Yeah, he's a super intelligent and super experienced and super successful guy, let's face it. He's going to do what it takes to make the improvements he needs to make. And he's so intelligent to know what those improvements should be. Not to mention his coaching is top notch, right? So, Brian's going to make any improvements he has to make. Robert's video was clickbait. Glad I'm not the only one who thought so. Like, yeah, I mean, he's awesome. He's super entertaining. Strongman needs entertainment. Did any of you watch Clash on the Coast? Nick Camby, he won the overall, set a world record axle press, and is like super entertaining. Let me see if I made a post about it actually. Let me show you that, and then we'll get back to World's Strongest Man talk. Just give me a second to kind of show you that, because I think it's really interesting. Just if you're not a fan of Nicholas Camby, you will be after you see this. Like, just super, super interesting guy to watch. So if we go back to Instagram and share that, and then we do, he's Camby Dude. So this is Nick Camby, right? And then I posted his lift. So we'll just go to one of my posts. And so here it is. Here's his world record. I don't want to say attempt because it's successful. So 105 kgs, 105 kg body weight, 417 pounds at 190 kg axle press. So he breaks the world record with this, and watch what he does with the bar after he breaks the world record. As I said, if you're not a Nicholas Camby fan, now you will be. Look at that. Holds it up there, turns around with it, really egging on the crowd. This is the kind of thing we need in Strongman. People that are successful and engaging with the audience. So I get why Oberst does that, and kind of the engaging nature is good for the sport, but I don't like to be clickbaited, right? Like, I broke a record. My first inclination, funny enough, was, oh, is this like Thor all over again? Like, you broke a record in your gym, so does that really count? And I know that's a divisive topic. Some people think it does, and some think it doesn't. And I've kind of totally backed off my position. I don't care. Like, both positions are valid. I don't want to argue with anybody over that. But yeah, that was my first thing. Then I watched. I'm like, wait, where's the kegs? So anyway, interesting enough. Sandbag is actually harder than kegs. I would say I agree with that. But it's just different, right? Like, some guys are better at one thing and some are better than the other. I would see why you say that, because the straps are flimsy, whereas a keg is stiff. But it just don't count. Sorry, just don't count. Brian said the Wheel of Pain wasn't a hard push, but you need good endurance, as it was a continuous push. Interesting. So with all the talk about Brian kind of doing things to build up his endurance and speed this year, we'll see if he comes out stronger there. again, JF thinks it's a good event for him, for Brian. So we'll see how that goes. And then Hassan goes on to say, the turntable will be harder, I think, so that suits Brian. I think that's kind of what the general information is pointing to. It'll kind of suit Brian more. Now, there's other guys too that we're not talking about. Who else do you think is going to do well on that Titans turntable? Tom Stoltman, maybe. JF was saying he thinks Constantine will do very well on that as well. Very heavy guy and very tall guy, so he's got all of the talent and accoutrements to be able to do that, right? World's Strongest Blacksmith says, if anyone can get above 205 kg on the max log, I would be surprised. I would too, and Big Laws would be too. So he actually said on his video, which I agree with, like it's too late in the proceedings for anyone to have enough energy left to even get close to a world record, right? So yeah, I wouldn't expect anything like that. It'll just be best guy wins, but not the same as kind of doing a one event record breaker like some of the stuff we saw at Clash on the Coast that I just showed you. Incidentally, the contest where Bobby Thompson just broke the American log press record by, I think it was 1.2 kilos, something like that. So it was Rob Kearney's record. And now it is Bobby Thompson's record. Congratulations to Bobby. If I think I mentioned it to you, Bobby, in comments, but I'll tell you by voice now. Congratulations on an incredible lift. Super entertaining for the audience and just an unbelievable achievement. So good going, Bobby Thompson, for sure. Hassan says, Brian's world record in keg toss height is 15 kgs for 7 meters something. And he did it easily, and nobody was close to him except Thor. Yeah, I remember Thor being very, very good in keg. And it's funny, JF brought up Shivlikov as well. And I remember, I think it was a Giants Live event. I don't remember which one or which year, but Shivlikov and Thor were going back and forth with each other. And Shivlikov had like one bad leg. He was injured and still managed to match like all of Thor's throws except the last one where Thor won. But crazy. Shivlikov's got an unbelievable work ethic and motivation and never say die attitude that I think is also incredibly good for the sport and entertaining for the audience for sure. That guy really tries. So The Onion says, Luke Stoltman's record is 221 kgs or 47. Interesting. I thought it was over 5, but still 47 is an incredible number. So, wow. Yeah. I got to get myself a log one of these days and see if I could even press the empty log. I pressed a log in the woods the other day. I posted that. You guys should go check out my Instagram, My Block Strongest. I went walking around in the woods one morning just because I figured, hey, get some exercise before I start work, and tried to find the most appropriate log I could that wasn't totally unliftable like a whole tree and not too light, and did some reps with a log there. So we'll do some walking in the woods in the future, try to find some bigger ones and build up to a max, maybe bring a scale out there with me. So go check out that post. All right, Tyler's got to go. Thanks for dropping by, buddy. I really appreciate all the awesome questions and insight. And then Hassan, Jerry Pritchett. Who are we talking? Jerry Pritchett for which event? I don't want to say the obvious, deadlift. Maybe you were talking about a different, maybe the turntable still. But yeah, probably when I asked who other than Brian would do well on the turntable, you probably meant Jerry Pritchett for that. Jerry did really well last year. He was 4th, if I recall correctly, last year. And, even at the Shaw Classic, Jerry did really well. Jerry was in 2nd place for a lot of the Shaw Classic. So interesting. Jerry is one of my favorites. He's also talking about Shivlikov's never say die attitude. Did you guys see the Shaw Classic last year? That Hummer tire deadlift off between, not really, but, by the time they got to the end, Jerry and JF were the only ones that were really still in contention. And Jerry put an all-time effort into trying to match JF on that 1202. So incredible. Jerry Pritchett's an unbelievable athlete for sure. Martin says, the injured foot, was it at an Arnold's Classic? I don't know. I remember it being a big arena event. I don't think it was an Arnold's. I think it was a Giants Live big arena event, but I could be wrong, and you may be right. But yeah, I think it was a big arena Giants Live event, and can't remember which one it was. We'll have to look that one up. But yeah, it was basically like hobbled on one leg and came in 2nd place on a keg toss with Thor, who is one of the great keg tossers of all time. So it's really something to see. The Onion says Misha got 5th place at the 2020 Arnold's on one leg. Okay, so not as high placing as I thought he did, but still, one leg is one leg. Thank you, Onion, for the correction on that. Martin says, do you know what's about the NAC deadlift? Like, what does NAC mean? NAC is a sponsor for World's Strongest Man, so they're a tool company, from what I've heard. And I heard rumors about what that means for the deadlift, whether it's just their name or what. But take this with many grains of salt. It's totally a rumor, no confirmation. I heard that maybe they will have giant toolboxes on the end of the bar. So, which would be super cool if that's it. But again, no confirmation on that, totally rumor. But NAC, from what I've heard, is a sponsor, a tool company sponsor at World's Strongest Man. So that's what NAC means. San says, apparently the NAC deadlift is a standard height. Interesting, really. And the athletes will be on a raised platform. So they're on a raised platform to bring it back down to standard height, or the raised platform makes it even lower than standard height. That would be crazy. Yeah, that would be crazy. Like a deficit deadlift. Speaking of deficit deadlifts, I don't know if any of you caught, back in January, there was a competition called the Mammoth Strength Challenge. And so I actually did the official after show for that. And it was on a dirt floor. So it's kind of an arena where they do rodeos and that sort of stuff. So it was a dirt floor. And they had a deadlift medley. And because it was a dirt floor, by the end of the competition, it became a deficit deadlift because the weight started sinking into the ground by 2 inches. So it became a 2-inch deficit. So for any of you that saw that, that's interesting there. Travis Ortmeyer was there as well. He was supposed to join us this evening, so I'm not sure if he had a scheduling conflict or whatnot, so I'll catch up with him and we'll do that another time. But yeah, he did really well at that event, and they had some misloads, unfortunately, because they just had like a lot going on for the production team to take care of. And he ended up with an inadvertent deadlift PR that day. It was 879. Supposed to be an 800-pound deadlift, and he ended up with a PR at 879, which is funny. Yeah, so Antoine, so you're saying, so a deficit deadlift, that's what I'm asking as well. Interesting. I don't know. It sounds like it, right? So if it starts off as a standard 9-inch deadlift and they're also on platforms, then it's a deficit. But if the idea is it's higher, like it's 15-inch, and then they're on a platform to bring it back down to standard, then could be that. Maybe whatever implements will be on the end of the bar are high enough that it won't sit at a standard 9 inches, so they need the platforms to bring it back to 9 inches. But either way, like I was talking to JF and he was saying the strongest guy is going to win. Doesn't matter. The strongest deadlifter wins. And hey, it could be him. You know, you have JF, Jerry, Adam Bishop. Trey is getting to be a really good deadlifter. Bobby Thompson is a really good deadlifter if he makes the finals. So JF has a good chance to win that. I mean, for any of you that didn't see him at the Shaw Classic with that Hummer tire deadlift, go find Brian's footage on that. Unbelievable, unbelievable lift. The Onion says it was 5th overall. He still got 2nd on the bag toss for height. Oh, gotcha. Thank you. That makes more sense. Hassan says toolboxes on the side with raised platform to make it standard height. Oh, so you heard for sure. Interesting. Let me know, Hassan, where you heard that. I'd like to see that. Was it? I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I get a lot of my information from Big Laz. I trust him. So maybe you heard him say it. Yeah, cool. Toolboxes on the side with a raised platform to make it standard height. That's going to be really cool to watch. I'm going to love watching that. Like I said, back in the day, they had a deadlift with kind of Flintstone stones on the ends, where Yoko Hola won that event at Worlds. And I like that kind of stuff. I like when strongman gets into the unconventional. Hassan, the Stoltmans were talking about it. Okay. So I'll go over to their channel and check that out. Thanks for letting me know. Martin, how do you like JF's chance to win it all? So Martin, I predicted him to win it all. This is before I knew the events, of course. So I took similar events to last year, improvements that I think he's made, and where I think the heats would have been if they were similar to last year. And I predicted he was going to win this year. So you gotta put him on the podium either way, because just the progression he's made over so many years, it's a pattern, right? It's not an up and down. It's a steady progression up. And he was 3rd last year and 2nd at the Shaw Classic. So I would say he's got to be 1 or 2 this year. He's got to be. But yeah, my initial reaction was he's going to win it all. I'm going to redo my math with the new events, and hopefully they tell us the heat sometime soon, so I can take that into consideration at all. But you know, how do I like his chances? I like them very, very much, very, very much. Yeah, he's like a guy who doesn't care. If you caught him at the beginning of the stream, he's a guy who doesn't care of the little nuances on how they change the deadlift or how they change this or change. He's like the strongest guy in that the strongest stone lifter will win. Doesn't matter what kind of stones you do. The strongest guy in deadlift will win. Doesn't matter what. Like he's got a one-track mind, so to speak. So I love his chances. Antoine, very cool event. Caron for the win or Pritchett. It would be awesome to see Jerry. Jerry's been doing, he did well last year. He did well at the Shaw Classic. He's, really been coming back strong in the last couple of years. And it would be great to see Jerry win. Great to see him win. The cool thing about Jerry, if you don't know, he fabricates all his own lifting equipment because he's a metal fabricator by day. And so that's a cool thing about his story. Fabricates his own equipment. Martin, I worry about the log. I don't so much. I mean, JF was on here earlier, and he'll admit he's not the best in log, but he doesn't have to win every event to win, right? So I think last year was a bit of an anomaly because in the if I'm recalling correctly, there was a log in the qualifiers, and he did one rep because that's all he needed to advance. So you can't judge him by that. And then there was a log ladder in the finals where he was, I want to say, middle of the pack, maybe. I'm going to call that an anomaly. Like, I don't think you can say he did so-so at log last year, so that's what he is as a log lifter. I don't believe a word of that. I don't think he's the best log lifter in the world, maybe not even the top 3 at Worlds, but he's not going to be bottom of the pack in log. That's my feeling, so I don't worry. But yeah, cool for bringing it up. Awesome. Well, I mean, we've had a lot of great discussions tonight. We had JF Caron on for quite a while at the beginning, caught him right after training, having his dinner, and then he had to run home. And then, of course, we'll try to get Travis Ortmeyer back on next time. Not sure what the scheduling conflict was that happened here, but I really thank all of you for joining. Just another quick reminder, if you haven't yet, like this stream, subscribe to my blog, Strongest Man. If you love what you've seen tonight, subscribe to me. I'll keep bringing you more great content, and jump in my comments and let me know some ideas that you have for other videos and streams in the future, and I'll do my best to get them done for you. We've had some incredible streams. We had Jessica Fifth and Haley Randall and Lauren Wells on once. We had Leifa Ingalls, Rebecca Lorch, and Gabby Bergholzer on once. We've been bringing some incredible guests, and would love to continue doing so. So by subscribing to the channel, you let me know that you like what you're seeing, and simple as that, right? And make sure to run back over to Hunger Smash Fitness, my co-host on these streams, and subscribe to him as well, and like and watch a bunch of his stuff as well. He's actually staffing an event, the Empire Classic, right now, which is why I couldn't make it. But make sure to support us, guys, and thank you. We love all of your engagement and contributions, and thanks again, guys, for jumping in. Have a great evening, and we'll catch you again next week. Oh, and if you have any other suggestions for guests we should have on in the future, let us know in our comment sections as well, or on our Instagram. I am my blog Strongest. He's Hunger Smash Fitness. Let us know. We'll do our best. I've made friends with quite a few people in the industry, so we'll see what we can do. Thanks again for joining, and again, as always, ciao, homie.